Alright, what's going on, guys? The Grammys were a minute ago, but regardless, after seeing them finally apologize to The Weeknd for his snubbing in 2020, it got me thinking, who else is deserving of an apology? There's gotta be way more than just him, and I was right, because today we're gonna talk about some of the most major cases of the Grammys snubbing artists, having artists battle them, and just plain weird stuff they've done. Let's start off with a fairly well-known one. 2014, the category for Best Rap Album of the Year is completely stacked. You had great albums like Yeezus, Nothing Was the Same, Good Kid, Mad City, and Magna Carta Holy Grail, all competing for the award, and with all of those albums having a good shot at winning, you'd think The Heist by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis wouldn't have even been an option here, right? Like, no way this album has any chance going against, at minimum, 3 classics. Huh? Macklemore winning in 2014 was an event. To say people were mad was an understatement, and rightfully so at that. No offense to Macklemore, Can't Hold Us is a banger, but why the hell was he in this category to begin with? Writing this video, I had to take a break just to fathom of how out of all of the rap albums from that year, Born Sinner, Long Live ASAP, Wolf, Watching Movies with the Sound Off, and way more I could mention, all got passed up, not nominated for this award or nominated at all, but Macklemore was and won it. Like, is that not insane to believe? The outrage, like I said, was understandably warranted. Not only was The Heist just objectively not the best album here, but they also picked it in favor of Good Kid, Mad City, which is, just widely regarded as one of the best albums ever. Like, of all of the years to do this, they chose the one with a literal masterpiece in it. Imagine they're doing like Best Picture at the Oscars, and for some reason, Spider-Man 2 just wins for no reason. It's a 20-year-old movie, but somehow it just won. Like, that's pretty much how this went down. Even Macklemore was confused. He won and felt like he shouldn't have. Macklemore felt so bad, he even posted a text that he sent to Kendrick apologizing for what had happened, and worse for him, this was kind of the end of his career. Like, it wasn't exactly the end, but after this, Macklemore didn't really have a whole lot of success. And it's a shame because none of it was his fault, but unfortunately, just because he was the one to touch the award, he became the face of this insane snub, and it made him and his music overall look way worse. But anyway, next case. Travis Scott has never won a Grammy. Let's discuss that. In 2015, he drops his debut album, Rodeo. The Grammys give him nothing. 0 nominations at all, which confuses the hell out of me because this wasn't some case of a good album, but the artist was still pretty low profile and hadn't blown up yet. Like, no. This album had hits. Several songs that are still being played today. How could they give it 0 recognition? The next year, he comes back with Birds in the Trap. Not his best album, but it's still pretty good. Did it get nominated? No. But while I'm talking about Birds, go check out Guidance. Very underrated song from that album. Okay, 2018, Travis Scott drops Astroworld. And finally, after 3 albums, gets nominated. You could say it's because Astroworld is that good. I'd say it's because they couldn't ignore him anymore. The guy was hanging out with Ninja, for Christ's sakes. He was massive. Astroworld was up for 3 Grammys. Best Rap Song for Sicko Mode, Best Rap Performance also for Sicko Mode, and at long last, Best Rap Album. The Best Rap Song went to God's Plan, Best Rap Performance went to both Bubblin' by Anderson .Paak and King's Dead. I did not know Grammy Awards could tie. I never heard of that, but apparently it's possible. And now lastly, the one we all know about, Rap Album of the Year would not go to Travis Scott, it would not go to Pusha T, not to Nipsey Hussle, or Mac Miller, rest in peace, but Cardi B. That's right, once again, out of all of the albums that dropped in 2018, for some reason, they pulled the Macklemore stunt again, and gave both a spot and an award to the least deserving artist on the list. Just like 2014, it's not the fact that the album lost that's insulting, but the album that it lost to. In 2020, he got nominated for Highest in the Room, also lost that one to Anderson .Paak, and then we fast forward to 2024 when Utopia was up for Best Rap Album, losing to Michael by Killer Mike. Now this one, it's very strange because objectively, Michael is the best album here. A lot of people think it's fine that Utopia didn't win, but the reason why I'm stating that and the reason why I put Kendrick and Travis's 2019 loss next to this is because the Grammys clearly have not operated on the best album wins this whole time. If that was the case, then Kendrick would have won in 2014. If that was the case, then Pusha T would have won in 2018. I just find it weird, and without a doubt, I feel like there will inevitably be more examples of things like this happening, where an organization that's supposed to know what music's good and what music isn't, for some reason picks objectively the worst music they can over everything else. Even though Utopia shouldn't have won in 2024, no one would expect them to actually pick the better album. If you were a betting man, you would bet on Utopia, and this blindside win even had Travis bad, especially since he was performing that night at the Grammys. While he was performing Fiend, he said this, and then him and Cardi broke a bunch of chairs at the end of the song. Reasonable crash out, yes. Will he ever win a Grammy? Probably not anymore. Drake, in addition to having beef with literally everyone, also has beef with the Grammys. At the 2019 event, while he won his award for God's Plan, he used his speech to say this.
If there's people who have regular jobs who are coming out in the rain, in the snow, spending their hard-earned money to buy tickets to come to your shows, you don't need this right here, I promise you, you already won.
And after that, Drake would begin a bit of a boycott against the event. He supported The Weeknd after his snubbing in 2021, and after Certified Lover Boy got nominated, he actually revoked his own nomination. He didn't want it considered at all. His next album, Her Loss with 21 Savage, he only submitted in hopes of getting 21 a Grammy. He didn't want it for himself. And then with Honestly Nevermind and For All the Dogs, he didn't submit or speak on whatsoever. So for all my conspiracy people in the audience, if you want a reason to claim why the industry would be attacking him, then there you go. Thank me later. And then lastly, we have The Weeknd. His Grammy run would start off very strong with Beauty Behind the Madness getting 6 nominations and winning 2 in pretty important categories at that. The next year, though, was a bit odd. Starboy, while not being one of Abel's best albums, was only nominated for 1 award. And while it won that single nomination, I still think no specific songs being nominated was strange, and this was the start of something that will only get worse. My Dear Melancholy didn't receive any nominations, not the end of the world since that album isn't as big or major as his others, but with After Hours in 2020, things became suspect. After Hours is fantastic. Not only does it have a ton of hits, but it's insanely consistent, something that I feel other Weeknd albums have struggled with. It's at the very least a top 3 album of his, many seeing it as his best. And when Grammy season came around, you'd expect to see this album in tons of categories. Record of the Year, Album of the Year, the pop categories, and the R&B ones. A sweep should have been in order. But when the nominations came out, After Hours was completely snubbed and missing from them. And with something like this being insanely hard not to notice, everyone looked at the Grammys as to why. They said nothing. Well, actually, that's not true. After The Weeknd went on his famous Twitter rant about it, the Academy would come out to say that they empathized with Abel and that great albums get skipped every year. It's nothing new. This is one of the best albums of the decade. What the fuck? After this went down, The Weeknd would begin his Grammy boycott. Technically, he's still been nominated and actually won an award since it started, but those were from features and work that he did on other albums. His solo work he hasn't submitted since After Hours, but surprisingly, this has a happy ending. At the 67th Grammys that just happened a few weeks ago, the Academy dedicated a whole section of the show to apologizing to The Weeknd, admitting they were wrong, showing how they changed, and letting him come out to perform. A full, proper burying of the hatchet. And with that, it seems to me at least that the Grammys are in a good spot. Snubbings are still going to happen, but hey, at least they aren't the insane, downright unfair ones that I went over here. Also, if you want more of this, I'd totally be down to make a second part covering more incidents of the Grammys screwing artists. I would have included more, but I didn't want to make a super long video or anything. So that's going to be it for me today. Like, subscribe, stay clouded. See you guys.